Let's watch this insertion. That's a juicier vein than I was expecting. It looks like there is a bit of excess skin. And one trick I learned to deal with excess skin is to actually lift up the tourniquet and pull the extra skin past it, then release the tourniquet, trapping that loose skin behind it. And that is also a larger IV than I expected. And why is he inserting from so far away? That is so much more painful because the needle has to penetrate that extra distance through the tissue, which makes this quite traumatic. Patient took it like a champ, but I would not want that to happen to me. There is flashback, but because it was inserted so far away, only a small portion of the tip of that catheter is probably inside the vein, which is generally what you don't want. It makes it a bit higher risk for dislodgement and infiltration. And you should never, ever reinsert the needle after retracting it. I'm assuming he retracted the needle to confirm that he was in the vein, but flashback was already visible in the chamber, so there's no need to retract the needle for confirmation. And reinserting the needle can result in catheter damage and potential fragmentation. It looks like he reinserted to prevent the catheter from leaking blood, but that's also not necessary, as you can just hold the correct amount of pressure above the insertion site and boom, problem solved. At that point in the insertion, he should have just retracted the needle. He would have gotten the same flashback, and the best way to confirm placement would have been to have flushed. Again, I've said it before, I'm not a fan of these non-transparent dressings. It makes it harder to assess the insertion site, and it happened quick, so you might have missed it. But I think he put his sharps in the bed next to the patient. The last little note that I'll leave is that this was a good size IV, but keep in mind the Infusion Nurses Society recommends using the smallest IV catheter necessary when it comes to IV insertion, and I'll explain why on my next post. If you're interested in learning more tips, tricks, and best practices when it comes to IV insertion, my book just came out today. You can search it on Amazon or have links on my website at anursesguide.com.